Welcome back to La La Land on CRN Digital Talk. I am Brett Chapin, and that's Bonnie Salutikoff. Guys, we have on the line, live from New York. Oh, and actually, we also had Daisy Egan from D.C. Hey, Daisy.
Hi, guys.
And on the line, live from New York, we have Mr. Seth Rudetsky, Sirius XM on Broadway host. Hey, Seth.
Hello.
Thanks so much for joining us today.
Oh, good.
So, Seth, you've done a lot of work, with Sirius XM, a lot of work on Broadway. Your resume is just ridiculous with different things that you're doing. But I wanted to kind of start off talking to you a little bit about your early education. You went to Hewlett High School and Oberlin College. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct.
And what you studied piano performance. How did you enjoy your education at Oberlin?
I loved Oberlin. I don't really know why I was a classical piano major, because I knew I was never going to be a concert pianist. I think, I don't know why I didn't major in theater. I literally do not really know, except for maybe, like, I had a war with my theater teacher in high school, and I sort of got, blacklisted, like, halfway through my high school career. So maybe, because I wasn't pursuing theater my last 2 years, I didn't pursue it in college, and then I auditioned to be a classical piano major, and I think I was so shocked I got into Oberlin, and also got on like early admission, that I was like, I guess I'm going to be a piano major. So I wasn't really pursuing necessarily what I wanted to do, but I loved Oberlin. I mean, it's so liberal and it's so incredibly creative. I mean, all these incredibly talented people, all these people even in the college that, because it's a conservatory in a college, all these people in college that were like incredibly talented, not even pursuing like their artistic talents. It was just, you were just surrounded by really smart, really creative people. So I definitely loved Oberlin.
Yeah, I can imagine, definitely. And you said you got into a war with your high school drama teacher. Look who's laughing now, huh?
Oh, yeah, he's a dick. I mean, literally the show that kind of put me on the map that I wrote, I don't know, probably 10 years ago, I did it off Broadway called Rhapsody and Seth. Like, I fully featured him in it. I mean, at the beginning of the show, I say, they say that living well is the best way to get revenge upon your enemies. But I found that being artistic and creative, doing a show and talking about your enemies and using their real names is the best way. Welcome to my show. So it's like I definitely got my revenge on him because he was a dioc.
Sounds like it. Well, plus with all your success in acting, you definitely got revenge on him too.
Yeah, I guess. I did run into him like 2 years ago at South Pacific, and it was just bizarre. I mean, like within 1 second, he's like, "My daughter no longer speaks to me." I'm like, "Why are you revealing that to me?" It was so awkward. I am.
Yeah, well, I can't say I blame her for what you've described.
Yeah, I mean, he just wasn't a nice guy. Whatever. It was one of those, I think, like, he was, quote-unquote, trying to teach me a lesson for having a lot of hubris, and he didn't really teach it to me. He just kind of came down to my level of, like, a 14-year-old and, like, challenged me at that level instead of, like, being an adult and, like, helping me grow as an artist. He did say that being a pianist is something you do solitary, but being a theater is something you do with other people. So I will never, ever succeed in theater and only will succeed as a musician. So he can suck it.
Huh. Look who's laughing now. Well, all right. So you went on from high school, you went to Oberlin, and then how did you end up at Sirius XM?
Whoa, that was a lot of years later.
Yeah.
Well,
skipping around a little.
I mean, when I was at Oberlin, I had a radio show because I just, I loved playing Broadway music, and they had this, I can't remember. Anyway, it was called OB something. But the point is, I had my own radio show, and I used to always make cassette tapes of myself doing this show. And like my mom would always listen to it, and she'd always be like, "You should have your own Broadway radio show." And I'd always like yell at her, like, "There's no such thing in the real world!" Like just like so angry at her for suggesting something. It was sort of like, "You should do a radio show from the moon." Like I didn't know what she's talking about. Like there isn't a Broadway radio show that I should be having. So I just would glare at her and also literally scream. And then I began doing this talk show called The Chatterbox, which was like an interview show that I still do once a week. It's like a fundraiser for Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS, but it allowed me to interview people from Broadway for a full hour instead of the horrific interviews I would see on TV. Like I remember I was doing a big concert of Funny Girl, and Jane Krakowski was in it, and she was on the Today Show or something like that. And they're like, "So Jane, you're doing Funny Girl, but this time we hear it's a musical." Like obviously they got notes from the producer about it, and they heard the word musical, Funny Girl, and like they didn't even know. It's like you're idiots. So I was like, I really want to do an hour-long interview show where I could really talk to Broadway people in depth about their careers and get the funny stories and the details. So anyway,
yeah.
I then wrote that show, Rhapsody and Seth, that featured my theater teacher, and I was asked to be interviewed on Sirius. Actually, it was just Sirius back then. So I went to the interview, and it was like 9 o'clock in the morning, and I had like full B. Arthur speaking voice, and totally actually was completely crabby. But then after I had the interview, the guy from the Broadway channel was there, and he said, "Oh, you're so good on the radio. You should have your own show." And I was like, "That's your version of good on the radio?" And then he said, "Do you have any kind of record of yourself doing anything like that?" And I said, "Well, I have this interview show. I can give you just a recording of me interviewing B.B. Newirth." And then I gave him the recording. I didn't hear anything for months. And then just randomly they called me and they said, "Okay, well, can you do 2 shows, Saturday night and Sunday night?" Which I now know is like the graveyard shift on Sirius. Like they put like the people that no one will ever want to listen to. So I said, "Yeah, I'll do that." So I did 2 shows, and like
Why we're on Saturday?
Like Saturday night and Sunday, not as early as this show. It was like late night. It was like 9 o'clock or something. But I did 2 of them, and then like a week later, they're like, "We want you on 7 days a week." So it was just, I didn't pursue the job. It just kind of came to me, and that was around almost 10 years ago.
Wow. You never know what to expect, do you?
Yeah, you really don't. And my mother, I guess, was right, which is the annoying lesson.
And speaking of your mom, I actually was listening. I'm personally have a Sirius XM system, and I was listening live to your Live on Broadway show one day when you sang a song to your mom, who was in the audience.
That stupid thing? Oh, brother. I just did that. I have every week I have to make up another stupid song that I got to introduce the show with, so I just kind of make up whatever happened. And my mother just had this bizarre dream that she's like, "I remember seeing you in a dream, and you were wearing an all-white suit with white shoes." And I thought, I knew Seth was gay, but not that gay. I don't even know what that means. So anyway, I just sang a song to her. Any event I'm at, my mother is there lurking somewhere. If not in the audience, it's in my head nagging me.
Well, I mean, clearly there's a different level of gay when you're wearing a white suit, I guess. I don't know.
Guess so. It actually seems very kind of lesbianic to me. Hey, man, it seems like the kind of like lesbian wedding, an all-white suit. Anywho.
Anywho.
It was a good song. I totally saw that on YouTube. It was awesome.
Oh, God. It's so embarrassing. I don't know why the hell they posted that. Anyway, all right.
Seth, it actually has a lot of views. You should check it out.
But it's so dumb because I think they literally don't get the setup. They're just like, here's a song, and then I sing the song, and it's like, it's only funny, I feel, if you know that you had the dream of it. Oh, whatever.
I think you actually give the setup before the song.
I?
Yeah.
All right, I guess then it is funny.
Pretty
Whatever.
awesome.
My eyes are rolling. Okay, thank you.
All right, moving on. You're still doing Sirius XM's Live on Broadway from Times Square every day?
No, I have not done that for a year. We lost, I think, the show stopped like last May, and then I do a show on, I have a whole show on the Stars channel, which is like the talk channel, like Barbara Walters is on. It's called Seth Speaks, and I was doing that for a year, and then started last May, and then the Broadway channel said, "Can we sort of appropriate that show since it has a live audience anyway, and turn it back into kind of the Live on Broadway show?" So I have Seth Speaks on the talk channel on Stars, one on I think tomorrow at 5 o'clock, and then it goes on the Broadway channel with Seth Speaks Broadway, sort of like kind of Broadway. We add like an extra segment. So anyway, we don't do them up from Times Square anymore, but we do the talk show with the live audience.
Awesome. Guys, for any information on Seth, visit SethTV.com. That is his TV station. And, it has all the information on him. Seth, I got a surprise for you.
You do?
Your mom is online, too.
You're not serious.
I'm dead serious.
Sally Radetsky?
Yes, sir. We'll be right back to talk to you and your mom on La La Land with Brett and Daisy on Sierra and Digital Talk.
God.